We're going to discuss for a few days now the halachot of koshering your vessels, being machshir kelim, which is also very important and often difficult set of halachot when it comes to Pesach. So we know the most important halachat on Pesach. We do not use the same kelim, the same utensils that we use throughout the duration of the regular year. Why? Because the kelim, the pots and pans and the plates and the spoons that we use during the year have absorbed the taste of chametz, and when you use that again on Pesach, it will emit the taste of chametz into your food, which is not allowed, and we cannot consume such a food that has a chametz taste emitted into it on Pesach. So therefore, the halachot appear of we have to be machshir to make them kosher, and there's one famous rule, the klal, when it comes to machshir kelim, when it comes to making your kelim kosher, hagalat kelim, is kebol'o kach polto. The way it absorbs, that's how it emits. The way it absorbs, that's how it spits out. That's the rule of thumb when it comes to all of the halachot of hagalat kelim, of making your kelim kosher, making your vessels kasher for Pesach. So therefore, when we're going to start giving examples, it's always going to come back to this rule of the way it emitted that flavor. It's the way it absorbed that flavor. That's how it emits it and releases it to become neutral status again. So therefore, we establish that we need to have separate kelim for Pesach. In our generation, Baruch Hashem, we're very well off. Everything is lavish, and there's not necessarily a requirement to need to be machshir all of our pots and pans and plates, because Baruch Hashem, you can get cheap alternatives that are durable and last on different websites, and you can set them aside specifically for Pesach. But there are some things that you can't just buy another one for Pesach that we'll discuss in upcoming days. For example, oven, your kitchenware, your tabletops, different things your microwave, different things that you can't just buy a separate set for Pesach. That's not practical. You can buy a pot and a pan, a couple of dollars, but you can't buy an oven, you can't buy an entire kitchen for Pesach. So with these things, we'll discuss very, very briefly. So we'll start from the top with hag'alah. Hag'alah is a process where anything that was cooked in a pot, the way to make it kasher, to make it back to its parv and normal status of no longer being a chametz utensil, is through hag'alah. How do you do hag'alah? Hag'alah is taking a boiling pot of water on the fire, boiling, and you dip the utensil that absorbed the chametz flavor into that pot. When it enters this pot of hot water, the hot water removes, it takes out the flavor of chametz from the utensil, and now this utensil comes out and it's considered like it doesn't have any flavor anymore. So again, this only works for kelim that you use when you're cooking, because when you kebolo kach polto, it's the same degree that it absorbed. That's how it gives it out. So for example, spoons, knives, smaller pots, in theory, they would work also, that you do hag'alah by immersing it in a pot that's on the fire in boiling water. There are some kelim that when their usage is directly on a fire, you would need something called libun, torching, to make them kasher. Like spits and skewers that you grill with them, for example, those aren't enough to just dip it in the water, because you grill with it on an open fire, you need to torch it with a flame. There are some halachot, people like to always ask about a barbecue. We'll finish with this. What do you do with a barbecue? So the halacha makes an exception that, kebolo kach polto always works. Using that same level always makes sense, unless you're scared to break your keli. I'm scared to break my barbecue, so I might not come and torch it properly. I don't even know how to torch properly, but even if I did, I'm scared to torch it to an extent where it becomes white and the metal becomes white. So therefore, the halakha explains that even for the case of the barbecue, let's say, Rabbi Chaim, this is how we advise, you need to buy new grates, because you're scared to torch it to a point that it's white, because you don't want to break it, so you're not going to do it fully, which it's a catch-22, which didn't achieve the goal. So there are many scenarios, we'll discuss them more at length in the upcoming days, but the rule is, kebol o kach polto, the way it absorbs, that's how it emits. Have a wonderful day.